Let's talk about the literary device characterization. First, a passage. I could picture the smooth oval of Laura's face, her neatly pinned chignon, the dress she would have been wearing, a shirtwaist with a small rounded collar in a sober color, navy blue or steel gray or hospital corridor green. Penitential colors, less like something she'd chosen to put on than like something she'd been locked up in. This is an excerpt from Margaret Atwood's The Blind Assassin, and it gives us a really good sense of who this person is, Laura. Now, if you encountered a passage like this, and you had to analyze the characterization, this is what you'd do. You'd identify revealing passages from the description of the character, that is, parts of the passage that stand out to you in the way they reveal the character of Laura, and you'd expand on those details, talk about their implications, as follows. Laura's neatly pinned hair reveals her orderliness. The sober color of her clothing shows her sensible and serious side. The final detail, this sober color like something she'd been locked up in, is a disturbing simile that suggests she feels restricted. The reason for this feeling isn't clear, but what we can say for certain is that Laura seems troubled. Think of characterization as a person in words. Here's another passage. Once the quietness arrived, it stayed and spread in Esther. It reached out of his head and enfolded him in its swampy arms, sent its stealthy, suckered tentacles inching along the insides of his skull, hoovering the knolls and dells of his memory, dislodging old sentences, whisking them off the tip of his tongue. And in the right-hand corner, you can see a baseball player having his hat whisked away by the wind. This is a character in Arundhati Roy's The God of Small Things. Incredibly poetic passage. As before, if you were to analyze Esther here, the way that Esther is characterized, you would identify revealing passages from the description. I liked these particular parts, the swampy arms, hoovering the knolls and dells, and then just expand on those details, kind of freely associate and talk about the implications of these things as follows. When silence overcomes Esther, the author compares the effect of the silence to a kind of monstrous octopus, its swampy arms suffocating him. It creeps up from the depths of his being and even erases his memory. The monster hoovers the knolls and dells of his memory. The author describes Esther's silence in such a way that it seems Esther is not responsible for his own silence. It's the monster's fault. Another way to think about characterization is the character's personality. What kind of a person are they? If you were to think of some of the people in your life, your parents, your siblings, your friends, what adjectives would you use to describe them? What things do they do that reveal their personality? And you can think about words that are commonly used in personality tests like introverted, extroverted, orderly, open, close-minded, and so forth. That can help you get somewhere sometimes when you're not sure what to do with a description of a character. Let's look at one more example. This is one of my favorite books. Miss Trunchbull, the headmistress, was a gigantic, holy terror, a fierce, tyrannical monster who frightened the life out of the pupils and teachers alike. When she marched along a corridor, you could actually hear her snorting as she went, and if a group of children happened to be in her path, she plowed right on through them like a tank, with small people bouncing off her to the left and right. This is from Roald Dahl's Matilda. And as before, we want to identify passages from the description that stood out to us, that we liked, that we can relate to other ideas. And these are the parts that I found, and expand on the details. Miss Trunchbull, the head mistress from Matilda, is a military-grade teaching machine. She marches through her school like a soldier and plows right through idling students like a tank. Her name, Trunchbull, suggests her capacity for brute force, her savage, if cartoonish, violence. Now, what was interesting about this passage is I identified a pattern in the way that Miss Trunchbull was being described. I noticed that this military kind of diction was used, like march, tank, and if you dissect that name, Trunchbull, well, you could say it comes from, bull, the animal, as shown in the right-hand corner, but also the word trunch may come from the word truncheon, used in the UK, the police baton. And so there's also a connection to authority. Now, besides identifying revealing passages from any description and then expanding on those details, you might also consider whether the characters you're encountering in a book are flat or round. And these are terms used by E.M. Forster in aspects of the novel to describe two basically different types of characterization. A flat character does not change in the course of a story or play, and a round one develops and thus alters. I like to think of friends from high school. Do you remember one person who used to enjoy going to parties and having a good time, and they played in a band, and they still do those things 10 years later after graduating? That kind of a person in your life, without further knowledge of their circumstances, seems a bit flat. Like they're just the same person you've always known, right? But that can also be comforting. It's not always a bad thing. There are other people in your life who feel more round. Maybe they used to be into partying and having a good time, and now they've settled down a little bit. They have different objectives, and they look back on those days and kind of laugh at their former self. It's more of a round character in your life. Similarly, in a story, you have flat and round characters. Matilda, which we were just talking about, I think mostly features flat characters because the story is somewhat cartoonish, and most cartoons do feature flat characters. You can think of the evil villains in any number of Disney films. They tend to be flat, the same the whole way through. Evil at the beginning, evil at the end. Now, how could we write a paragraph on characterization if we were to write about the way an author describes a character? Well, you could introduce the character with their name and role in the story, and then generally how they relate to your chosen main idea, that is, this character in relation to this larger theme. Then you would want to identify revealing passages from descriptions of the character and expand on the details as we've done. Maybe mention whether the character is flat or round and give an example of why you believe it's one or the other, and make a final connection between the character and your main idea. This is a lot of things to do. You may decide to just do just to identify revealing passages, or just to analyze whether the character is flat or round. But I hope this gives you some sense as to how you can go about exploring characterization.